guys, it's Karalynn and welcome back to the podcast. Today, I want to touch on a topic that I know everybody's kind of nervous about and curious of how they should handle it to protect their business is tariffs and the idea of unknown or unpredictable material price increases. So, how can you sign a contract now for work to be done later if you don't know exactly what the price of those materials are going to be? Okay. So I really think that this is a two-part conversation in the fact that for commercial contractors, it's one way, and for residential contractors, it's a different way. So let's start with commercial contractors, right? So in this uncertain time, and we kind of learned this from COVID too, we need to be able to protect ourselves from having to eat the cost of material price increases, right? Like we give a bid, it's accepted, we sign the contract, but then when we actually do the work, material prices have increased 10, 15%, right? So how do we protect ourselves from that in the as a commercial subcontractor or a commercial contractor, right? So we need to add a material price escalation clause. And a material price escalation clause simply says that, hey, if the materials I've quoted in this price increase more than 2 or 3%, I'm entitled to recover the difference of that cost, right? So that way it's in writing that this is what we want to do, right? And if this happens, I'm entitled to this increased cost, right? So, but logistically, what does that look like for a commercial subcontractor or somebody in the commercial industry? Okay. First off, when you give your bid or you give your estimate, you're going to include in there this material price escalation clause. Say, hey, this isn't what the materials are now, but if they go up, I'm entitled to be compensated for the difference. It's important to put it in your bid, especially as a subcontractor, because that way, first off, they know the prices are subject to change based on the increased material prices. The general contractor does, but it also gives the general contractor the opportunity to put that in his contract with the owner, right? And so that way, the general contractor could push those costs of the materials to the owner, which is where they belong, right? The owner's building this, he's getting value for it. If there's material and price increases, it should go to the owner, right? If we don't put this in there and they accept it, then you're not going to get any extra money if material price increases go up, and you can't just go ask after the fact and say, hey, well, you can go ask and say, hey, this is what happened, but legally you're not entitled to it. And you are required to do the scope of work for the price that you agreed to. So the first thing is we put it in our bid, right? All right. So the bid is accepted. We get a contract back. We get a subcontract back. We also need to make sure that the price escalation clause is in that contract, because here's why. Your proposal, your bid is the initial offer, right? I'm going to do this work for this price with this provision of the cost escalation. The general contractor will send back a counter offer, which is the subcontract, right? Okay, you're going to do the scope of work. Here's all these other provisions. Here's the price. Yes. And so just generally as a matter of law, you're not being hired to do your proposal. You're being hired to do the work that's in the subcontract. So we need to make sure that those are the same, right? But the second part of that is that even if the price escalation clause is in your bid, it also needs to be in the actual contract that you signed. That way it can be enforceable. So we add that material price escalation clause to the contract. We negotiate it in there. We make sure it's in there. All right. So what happens when you do have a material price increase, that you need to bill for? Obviously, I would let the GC know that, hey, I'm getting ready to order these materials. There's an increased cost, and request a change order, right? And show what the original cost was that you bid it at, what they are now, provide documentation on the difference, right? And put it together in a change order. Okay, and you submit the change order. It may or may not be approved. If it's in your contract, it should be. And the owner and the general contractor should have that same clause with the owner, which would allow them to push that expense up. All right, so we put it in a change order. If they agree to it and they pay it, good, no problems. What if they don't agree to pay it, right? What do you do then? Well, here's the thing is that you can't stop working, right? Because you would be in breach of contract under a commercial subcontract for failing to work just because they didn't approve your requested change order. So keep working. You have to keep working. That's the best position to be in. And then what you'll do is you're going to have to file a lien for that extra amount that you're owed, that your contract allows you to recover, right? And so the lien timelining of your state is going to be very important to know when you're in this situation, right? Even though you have it in your contract, doesn't mean they're going to honor it, doesn't mean they're not going to fight you on it. So, and you don't have the right to stop working just because they're not doing what they're supposed to. You have to finish the job. So document everything, submit a change order, make a great paper trail. And if it's not paid, then you need to file a lien for the value of the material you provided that you weren't paid in accordance with your contract, right? And then at the end of the day, we can decide if it's worth filing suit on or not. But those are the best steps that you can to protect yourself from materials price increases as a commercial subcontractor. I also have a great article on this specific topic on my website under the blogs, thecromeenslawfirm.com, where you can email me or call me if you have any questions about your particular contract. Now, if we've already signed a contract and this is happening, it would depend on the contract languages, but normally if you don't negotiate a material price escalation clause into your contract, it's not going to be there. And so what does that mean? It means that you have to do the scope of work for the price that you agreed to, and you can request a change order, but they don't have to give it to you. And so, it's kind of puts you in a very sticky situation. Some other things that you could try to negotiate if you can't get a price escalation clause in your subcontract is a termination for convenience clause, right? So a termination convenience clause are normally in subcontracts, but it only works one way. It gives the general contractor the right to terminate you for any reason or no reason at all. If you can negotiate in to make that mutual, that you, the subcontractor, can cancel this contract for no reason or any reason at all, then if material price increases occur and we don't have a material price escalation clause in the contract, we can terminate the contract for convenience. Or we can go to the general contractor and say, hey, I negotiated this provision. I can terminate this contract. If you would like to keep me on the job, here's my increased cost. If you can't do that, then I'm just going to invoke this termination for convenience clause. So a couple of different ways. As a commercial subcontractor, these are one of the reasons why it's so important to put some time and effort into understanding what you're signing and some important provisions that you might request to be added, or ways to negotiate things that could protect you in the end. Because if we don't have some of these clauses in here and material prices skyrocket like they did during COVID, it's going to be a problem. And it's going to be a big problem. So, and it might not be anything we could do for contracts you've already signed. We'd have to look at those to tell for sure. But this is a way to protect yourself. And it's always kind of a good idea to put it in there anyways. And if nothing changes, it's not a big deal, right? Just to protect yourself from the unknown because you don't know, right? So that's kind of the step-by-step for commercial subcontractors and what you would do. And, for a commercial GC, putting that in your contract with the owner would protect you and also allow you to pay your subs if they have a material price increase, right? So making sure that material price escalation clause is in those contracts is essential, right? Now, for my residential contractors, there's a couple different things. So it's kind of on the residential side, it's kind of completely different in that a residential contractor gets to create their own contract, right? So you as a residential contractor can put in there the material price escalation clause all on your own and say, hey, dear homeowners, if I bid this job at this price, but if material price increases more than 2 or 3%, you need to pay me the difference, right? And just putting that clause in your contract. Another way that you can protect yourself with either that clause, or you can also have what I like to call in the residential construction contracts, escape clauses, which basically is a termination for convenience. It gives you, the contractor, the right to terminate the contract for any reason or no reason at all, right? And so if we get in a situation where we don't have a material price escalation clause, we can cancel the contract just by letting them know, hey, we're going to cancel this contract under this provision. Or it gives you the leverage to go to the owner and say, hey, here's where I'm at. I bid this project, material prices were this. Now we're going to build it. It's substantially more. If I can't get the difference in the prices, I'm going to have to cancel the contract under this provision, right? So you can do it really, you have a lot of control on the residential side of protecting yourself in this situation, right? And also, I'd like to tell you, residential contractors, my new book, Trust Your Gut, Residential Contracts 101, is coming out May 6th. It will be available on Amazon. It has material price escalation clauses in there. It also has the escape clause that I was talking about and several other ideas that I think would be a great addition to your residential contract to protect yourself, right? And all of these things in the book that I learned through working with residential contractors and where they have fell down and what they could do to protect themselves in the future, which is how I improve their contracts, what I put in the book. It's all about, yes, you want to have happy clients, but you also want to protect yourself in situations like this. And just being up, right now, it's easy as a residential contractor to be upfront with owners saying, hey, I'm going to bid this project. I don't know with tariffs and what all this looks like, if the prices may increase, and just being upfront about it. And that way the owner knows what to expect, right? So you're not coming at them later, that this is this huge increase that they didn't expect. So guys, contracts are all about managing expectations and being upfront about what you need and what you want. So on both sides, make sure you protect yourself with the language that's in there. On the commercial side, you're going to have to negotiate some good terms. On the residential side, you can write them in. So, hey guys, I'm around. If you have any questions, let me know. If you want to talk about your specific contract or a specific thing that happened with your contract or material price increases, the firm's number is 713-715-7334. And I'll make sure they put a link to the blog article that's on the website about how to do this in your commercial contract. All right, guys, thanks. Have a great day.